They are full of deceit, maliciousness. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of Yah, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. Though they knew Yah's righteous decree. So let me finish this verse out. That those who practice such things deserve to die. They not only do them, but give approval to those who practice them. So that goes into this, like, to back into this conversation or back into this lesson, however this may flow. It's like people who say that they don't know who the Most High is, they don't have a belief in God, that they're atheists, are liars. Because when you go back into earlier within this chapter, within this section of this passage,
Right.
is talking about how we all know the Most High, because the Most High has revealed Himself into all creation. It's just down deep into our subconscious because of all the lawlessness, all of I'm gonna do what I want to do, I'm gonna live my best life, and I'm just gonna seek my own pleasures. We dumbed ourselves down, wanting to do our own thing, wanting to please our own flesh, wanting to have our own agenda, how we see and desire for our life to be. You know what I'm saying? We forget who the Most High is. We lost the sense of having a relationship with the Creator. And there ain't no excuse for you, because He made Himself known in His Word. He made Himself known in all of creation. And most importantly, He made Himself known in you, whoever. And His Word is in, meaning that His law is already in you. It's just because you're stuck in sin, you don't even realize that the natural things of the law, certain natural things of the law is in you, but you decided to twist those things, to not acknowledge and humble yourself down to practice and walk in those things. And like, everyone agree in here that murdering someone is wrong. Without even picking up the book, like, you see the taking away of something to someone else's life without a justifiable cause is wrong. You know what I'm saying? All realize that if I lie to this person, but without picking up the book, we ain't gonna pick up the book. We all realize that if I lie to someone, I didn't tell the truth to anybody. I'm betraying that person in some level of forms, because I'm not being 100% with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that is already in us, because we have a Creator that we were made in His image. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're not giving reference of where that foundation, where you got that sense, just that common sense, where that came from. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're foolish, and the definition of a fool biblically is like, it isn't ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
A fool is someone who chooses to be a fool. You have a choice to be stupid. You cannot know something and still not be stupid. You have to have an intelligible choice. You have to make an intelligible decision to choose and not to walk in something and to do something. And have the strength to claim, oh, I didn't know, but bro, you knew the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And that produces everything that's contrary to the nature of who Yah is. And dang, there's a whole lot. I'm just gonna let this thing flow. And going back to this verse 32, they knew the Most High's righteous decree, meaning that even going back to this topic, is like they knew the Most High's righteousness because it was in them, but they chose to practice otherwise. You know what I'm saying? And they deserve to die. So we in the pagan year 2023. You know what I'm saying? People out here glazed up. For those who know what that means, they know what that means. People out here living however they want to live. You know what I'm saying? You and not living according to the righteousness of the Most High. You deserve to die if you don't repent. If you don't repent, we are all worthy of death. And that calls for self-examination.
Come.
And there's a whole lot that I got written down that I'm not even touching. I feel like we ain't gonna have time. Oh, good on time? Okay.
Yeah.
And we gonna go down. We gonna go back to James 1. And we're gonna revisit this is for me. This is for us because we took a whole lot of sidetracks and detours. So James 1, verse 26 and 27. We're gonna read it one verse at a time. If any thinks, James 1, verse 26. If anyone thinks he is righteous and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless, or this person's belief is worthless. So if this person claiming they have fear, going back to this Greek word ekros, and it means fearing or worshiping the Most High. And then going back to this word worship in Hebrew is shakah, believe, and it means to lay yourself prostrate, to be in submission to. So if you're saying that you're in submission to the Most High, but you're not bridling your tongue, you're not holding back, you're not watching what you say, and how you say it, you have no fear of the Most High in you. You know what I'm saying? Our words are supposed to be seasoned with salt and light. And a wise man once told me that a person will reveal themselves without you even saying nothing. Just let them keep talking. They're going to find out their whole agenda, what they all about the realness of a person if you just let them keep talking and running their mouth. Because fools run their mouth too much.
Come.
And we're going to go to Matthew chapter 12. And we're going to start at verse 33. Reader. Matthew chapter 12, verse 33. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or make the tree bad and its fruit bad. For the tree is known by its fruit. You brood of vipers, how can you speak good when you are evil? For out of the abundance of your heart the mouth speaks. And the good person out of his good treasure brings forth good, and the evil person out of his evil treasure brings forth evil. I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. So it's like this, bro. We going to be judged by everything that we say verbally, and everything that we didn't control in our brain that we said, and bring it to submission to the Most High. So, us living righteously, we got to be mindful of what we say. We got to be mindful of the word choices that we use, and then be mindful of the tones that we use. You know what I'm saying? And now it's fresh in my spirit. No, we don't hold that. It's a distraction. Let's keep it going. And but we can truly find out the fruit and the manner of a person they keep running their mouth. How you know? So how you know when you caught someone in a lie, Samaki?
How you know what?
When you caught someone in a lie.
You have to know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Know that they're lying.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes they contradict
Contradict.
themselves.
That's what I'm saying. All right, that's fine. They'll start to contradict, and how do you know that they contradicting themselves? Like,
remember what they said before.
We said what they before, and exactly, they keep talking and talking and talking, and then what they talking, and they adding up what they said before. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes they go to two opposite ends of the spectrum and can't both be true.
Mm-hmm. And then they'll try to, well, this happened too, but you see how this, nah, I don't see how it makes sense how it works. Like, you lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how when someone's words isn't acting up to their action, or they're adding words that's contradictory to what the truth is,
Mm-hmm.
they're a liar. The truth is not in them. You know, well, I'll say it like this. Walking and applying the truth is not in them.
Can I ask a question
Mm-hmm.
about the text you just read?
Yes.
In verse 34,
Mm-hmm.
Yeshayah said, "O generation of vipers." My question goes to what you said about tone. What tone do you think he said then?
I think he said
O
in
generation of vipers.
an aggressive tone. He said an aggressive. When I say tone, checking the tone, meaning that knowing the situations that we're in. You know what I'm saying? So if someone's like, I would say, if someone accidentally spilled milk, you're not gonna be. It's like, bro, why would you spill this milk? It's like, oh, my bad, bro. It's all good. But if someone but it's a matter of truth, or it's a matter of righteousness,
Mm-hmm.
keeping and maintaining a level of righteousness. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be like, Brother Steve, what you said offended me. What you said about the word, it's not right. Most people that we know, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna turn up. Especially when it's a matter of salvation. You have to go to a level of aggression and a level of firmness to maintain a level of seriousness in the room, in an environment.
Thank you for that clarification.
All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Yeah, man. We're gonna go to verse 27 now. To John, not John. What book we start? James 1:27. We still got on time? How much time I got?
Yes.
How much time we got?
You got 30 minutes.
30 minutes? Alright, that's good. So, we ain't gonna be here long. So James 1:27. Religion that is pure and undefiled, or belief that is pure and undefiled before Yah the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. So, to visit, this is the New Testament, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a thought last night before some events. Hey, we had this event last night. My kinfolk, my kindred, my cousin Abraham's child. I don't know what camera to look at. This is confusing. This is mad trippy. We had the event last night. I'm gonna look at this one because I think this one's on YouTube. We had the event last night that my kinfolk, my cousin, my kindred Abraham's child had the Torah group called. I ain't gonna say the name, but we gonna because some people got soft skin, and it's okay. The event was called "You Are Not a Nigga." And pretty much it was dope. You missed it. It was really good.
Okay.
You should have been here. It's okay. You captured it somewhere. I don't know where though. But I do know where. Go on Facebook. But anyway, that's one. And the thought that came in my spirit, I think when I was driving, I think it was when I was driving, it's saying that the law of the Old Testament is known. People in Christianity will say that the Old Testament is known more, but the New Testament, everything that's in the New Testament, we gotta live by. And I was just thinking, it's like, people out here practicing witchcraft and sorcery. I know one of the requirements of not get, or one of the guidelines of not getting into the kingdom is if someone practices sorcery. Yeah, so I was just thinking, I was like, if the New Testament is saying that you're not going to inherit the kingdom because you practice sorcery, where did they get that from? They got that from the law. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, so therefore, that justifies us walking the law, which goes back to this. No, we don't stay on topic. And I was just thinking that this right here in this verse 27 is another example of us living by the righteousness, living by the conduct or the mandate of what they will call the Mosaic law, the Torah. Because visiting and taking care of the orphans and the widows are principles, precepts that are founded in the law of the Most High or in the law of Moses. So we're going to go to Leviticus. We're going to go to Leviticus chapter 19. Yes.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
If the law is done away with, why does scripture say that he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore? I mean, is that cut out of the Bible that you reading? Like, I mean, for real. You say it, you quote it, he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. But the law was done away with. Didn't it? I mean, aren't those the same words that he spoke?
Yeah.
What happened to that? That's another thing that pulled me into the truth. Because I'm saying, okay, these are the words that y'all spoke. So why would his words be null and void now because Yahushua came on the scene? I'm confused. I don't understand why there's an issue there when they're still saying that the law is done away with. That's really
It's mind-boggling.
right. Like, if he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, what happened to what he said back then? It's crazy.
I was thinking because a lot of people are confused because the Bible or the New Testament, so-called New Testament, does talk about, nailing the ordinances that was against us to the wall and something like that. Well, the thing is, people take the law and they put it in a big swimming pool. They just threw all of it in there, right? But they don't realize that the law is huge. And if you just think about the world, you got traffic laws, you got I don't know what else we got. You got civil laws, you got criminal laws, you got all these different silos of different types of laws.
Right.
So you can't throw all of them in the swimming pool. When he's talking about a specific law that was nailed to the cross. Not every law that ever existed was nailed to the cross. So I think that's what confuses a lot of people. They don't realize that when they're talking about that and that verse, you can't make that verse talk about nailing to the cross override every other verse that shows you that the law still exists.
Right.
You have to really just understand that particular nail to the cross verse in its context.
Yeah.
And it's talking about one specific law, and it tells you what law was nailed to the cross because what happened at the cross. It says the veil in the temple was rent in twain. That's the only law that was changed at the cross, was the Levitical law of the tabernacle. That was it. All the other laws still were in place. The sacrificial law.
The sacrificial.
Yeah, I should say that, sorry.
That's okay.
The sacrificial law. Wow, you don't have to run around killing goats and lambs and stuff in exchange for sin.
That's good.
All praises to the Most High. Lord. Amen. All praises. So we ain't gonna go to Leviticus. We're gonna go to Exodus chapter 22, verse 22. And then we're gonna jump to Isaiah chapter 1. So first, Exodus chapter 22, verse 22. So you shall not mistreat any widow or fatherless child. So we ain't supposed to mistreat the widow or the fatherless child. That child whose daddy has passed. Also take into distance or this consideration within keeping it in the construct of what we are in today.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the curses and because of the sin of man, there are a lot of fatherless homes that's out here. Would you say that relationship between the father and his child is dead? No. I'll say it like this. Because of certain situations. You see what I'm
In
saying?
that household?
Within the household, like,
Oh.
you know what I'm saying? Nah, general, no.
Yeah,
Right.
if the father's not there in the household.
Like that relationship.
He's dead, yeah.
Yeah, like the relationship isn't there. So in this sense, to keep in the context of just the situation that we're in right now, one would say that this child is fatherless because their father, they don't have a consistent male role model, male figure to look upon. So in the righteous sense, we are not supposed to mistreat, abuse, or use, or take for granted the love of this child or the emotions of this child. That makes sense? Great. So we're supposed to, anything that this widow needs, or widower needs, in righteousness we are supposed to provide. Anything that this child needs, who, because the absentees of their father, that man is supposed to give. That makes sense?
I'm thinking about, you know how much the laws of this land are, kind of based on the Bible.
Mhm.
I say kind of because the principle is there, but they're just not doing it justly. Cause you know, like now, if a widow, or if a father's absent from a home, usually the government will step in and you can get, you know, WIC, or you get food stamps, you can get welfare, you get Section 8. So they have different programs set up to take care of the woman and the child when the man is not there to do it, or not available for some reason to do it. So when God gave us that, you know, mandate as Israel, that we should be doing really, you know, now what the government is doing.
That's good.
That makes sense. Because we ain't supposed to be relying on Uncle Sam and Big Brother to take care of us. We supposed to be relying on each other to take care of each other by the strength of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? We, as a people, have crippled and disabled and made ourselves dependent upon a system that doesn't love us and a contract that doesn't love us. With the mandate of how the Most High desire for us to be, desire for us to have community and have relationships with each other, is all in His Word. But because of sin and because of us having our own perception of what community is like and what righteousness looks like, we don't take that for granted. We take it for granted. We don't pay any homage or any credence to that word. And then just to backtrack. I'm gonna read this and then we're gonna backtrack. So this is Isaiah 1, verse 16 through 17. Wash yourselves and make yourselves clean. Remove the evil of your deeds from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do good. And evil, the concept of evil and good is functionality and dysfunctionality. So if to say one is evil, meaning that someone isn't operating within a function that they are supposed to be walking in. To say something that is good, meaning that something is operating into this function that it was designed and purposed to do. Like when you have a lawnmower, the lawnmower is cutting the grass the way how it's supposed to cut the grass, right? You're gonna say this lawnmower is good, but if the lawnmower doesn't uphold to your standard, you know what I'm saying, or how you desire for the lawn to be cut, you're gonna say that's bad. Or the blade is broken. Or it starts. You know, it's not.
There's a whole lot of scenarios there.
You know what I'm saying? It's the function. It's the dysfunctionality. So the Most High saying is, forsake what is dysfunctional, what is not going to help you live to your purpose, and learn what is functional, what's going to have you walk into your purpose or why you're created. And
It burns and scorches the grass.
Con.
mm-hmm.
Reprobate.
Yeah. Seek justice, correct oppression, and this goes back to let me finish this off, and then I'm gonna revisit that. Bring justice to the fatherless, plead the widow's cause. So justice means, going back to his word tazadak or zadak. It means righteousness, means lawfulness. You know what I'm saying? To walk in righteousness. So bring justice. So when injustice happens to the fatherless, us in our righteousness, us in our lawful estate are supposed to correct that injustice by the law.
Con.
And plead the widow's cause. Going back to defend this widow, provide to support this widow, be what you need to be for this widow. Doesn't mean to marry this widow. It could mean hey, this sister needs a brother, or this sister needs a sister. That's what you need to be. That makes sense?
Con.
That makes sense? And then like backtrack to the seek justice, correct oppression, right? So going back to what Samakia said about tone. How do we know from taking ourselves out of our bodies and looking at the whole situation that we're in, right? Would you say that we are being oppressed in this land? Hold on. I don't know if we want to take it that far. Nah, we aren't gonna take this route because it's like this. Someone who's a pale face or has lack of melanin in their body, they wouldn't see this. Most likely, they wouldn't see our treatment in this land as oppression. If they're from or in this land, they'll just say, this is the way how things are, we just leave it at that. But with someone coming out of this land who has a level of righteousness, who's also a pale face and a lack of melanin in their skin, then when they see the situation that's happening, they're going to point out oppression and they're going to point out unrighteousness because they have a full picture of what's going on in this land. And this goes back to tone. So this is Sirach 11, verse 7 and 8. Blame not before thou hast examined the truth. First understand, and then rebuke. Answer not before thou hast heard, and cause neither heard the cause. Or answer not before thou hast heard the cause. Neither interrupt men in the midst of their talk. So you got to understand something before you rebuke it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have the full understanding on what or why things are, you have no place to rebuke it. But this goes back to tone. But once you have understanding of something and the truth of something, then you send forth that rebuke. And going back to tone, we had an example of the milk. Someone spilled the milk by accident, then someone go rah 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 without any understanding of why the milk was spilled. And once you get the understanding why milk was accidentally spilled, then you send for that rebuke. But then we have understanding of going back to the point with Hamashiach. Hamashiach didn't just step on the scene, start yelling at people. For one, he was already with the Father seeing their wickedness.
Con.
Then when he came to earth, it was another witness he saw with his eyes like, bruh, these people was wicked as hell.
Con.
Yeah. He was in his right, he examined everything and processed everything through. And then with that aggression in his voice and the tone of his voice, he had full right to do so. So, because he saw the oppression that was taking place, he saw the wickedness that our ancestors was doing. He had full right to talk with aggression because he saw the real. So the last part of this verse 27 in James 1, we ain't gonna go back there, but I just skipped a lot of verses, a lot of precepts, so we ain't gonna worry about it. We short on time. But I got to 12:30. Oh, well, I'm in heaven. All right, cool. So staying on this topic of taking care, not just on the fatherless and not just on widows, but also those who are in need. So we're gonna go to Matthew chapter 25. Matthew chapter 25, and we're going to start at verse 31. Oh, I was waiting on you. I mean, you going to read it, you can read it. All praise. You got two. One, two. Alright, cool. So, Matthew 25, verse 31. Then the Son of Man comes in his, when the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. Before him will he be gathered before him will be gathered all the nations and he will separate people from one another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And we're gonna talk about that separation later. And he will place the sheep on his right, and the right being representation of blessing, his right being a representation of authority, his right being a representation of that exaltation of the people. But the ghosts but the ghosts on the left. Then the king will say to those on the right, come, you are who are blessed. You are blessed by my Father. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the earth. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will answer them, truly I say to you, as did it to one of the least of these, my brothers. And going back, who was his brothers? Israel. You did it unto me. So, like the least of these, meaning those who have been downtrodden, those who had less, those who were in prison house, those who were walking the street, just needed some food, needed some shoes on their feet. And we provided them food, shoes on their feet. They just needed a place to stay, just for a night. Not even for a night. They just their car broke down, they just needed to use a phone. And you were the closest house spot. You let the man call somebody, let them use the phone, they don't have no way. Them having no clothes on and you giving them the clothes that they need to survive the harshness of winter. You know what I'm saying? The least of these. The goodness that we show to the least of these is being a representation how we treated, how will we treat Mashiach.
Mm.
You feel what I'm saying? That is walking in the law. When my brother is down, what are ways how I can help my brother get back up? That's walking in love. That's walking in righteousness. When I know my brother got holes in his Jordans, yeah, they Jordans, but they still busted. It shouldn't even, like, your brand shouldn't even matter. I'm gonna give my brother shoes because I love him.
God.
It don't have to mean, it don't even have to be, I knew this man since I was in the world. I knew this brother since I came into this truth. It could be like, I just met this man down the street. I'm seeing that he got holes in his shoes. Like, you can see the crustiness of his toe fungus. You know what I'm saying? He needs some socks. It's cold out here. It's brick. I'm gonna give this man some socks. I'm gonna give this man some shoes. He need a brick. When he need a winter coat. That's the love that the Most High desires for us to have.
God.
Is that when we are down and out, we as a community, we as a people are supposed to give each other the help and aid that they need to survive.
God.
And all for the glory of who the Father is. And then continue reading in this chapter 25 of Matthew. Then he will say to those on the left, depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels.
Mm-hmm.
For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not welcome me. Naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, you did not visit me. Then they will answer, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry and thirsty, or a stranger and naked, or sick or in prison, and did not minister to you? Then he will answer them, saying, truly I say unto you, as you did it to the least of these, you did not do to me. And these will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. So, if we don't provide those needs to our people that they need, that show forth that love to our people that they need, that same punishment, that Shaitan, and the angels that fell with Shaitan, and the angels that came and polluted the earth, that's going to a whole nother topic. That same punishment they're receiving, we will receive. We will lose our inheritance to the kingdom. And a quick precept that just came to my spirit just now is Matthew 7:21. Not everyone who saith to me, Master, Master, will enter into the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. And what is the will of the Father? To walk in his commandments. On that day many will say to me, Master, Master, did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not cast out demons in your name? did mighty works in your name. And then will I declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. And and just because you got this gift of prophecy on you, just because you have the ability to cast out spirits, demonic spirits outside of a person, just because the Most High gave you this excellent gift of gab, right, and you can just speak and teach and break down precepts, all of this, whatever, and break down the whole Bible, doesn't mean that that's going to give you righteousness.
Con.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you're in right standing with the Most High. And it just means that the Most High used you and used your gift to reach out and bring someone closer away from the fire.
Con.
It doesn't mean that that's because the Most High used you, doesn't mean that he's pleased with you. The Most High used Eli when Samuel was younger, when Samuel was hearing the voice of the Most High. Eli was stuck in sin, and Boaz was stuck in sin. His sons were stuck in sin. The Most High wasn't pleased with Eli, but he was still willing to use him as a vessel to get the boy Samuel's attention. The Babylonians was a pagan nation, practicing all manners of idolatry, but the Most High still used them to chastise us. You feel what I'm saying? He wasn't necessarily pleased. He wasn't pleased with this Gentile nation, with the Babylonians, but he still used them to bring forth correction to us, so we can come back to the Most High.
That's good.
Going back to Matthew 25, when you were reading, well, pretty much all the way down, but 25 and 45, when it says, then shall he answer them, saying, verily I say unto you, as much as ye have done it unto me. That's the scary part for me. Because if someone comes to me and have a need, and in my ruach, if I feel that they've come to me with a need, and it's a true need, then y'all would not have sent them to me. Now, there are con people out there, as we know. Like the gentleman that came a few Shabbats ago, trying to swindle money or whatever. But when you feel in your ruach that y'all sent this person to you, you can't say, okay, come back tomorrow, I might be able to help you out. When you have means right then to bless them or baruch them. So you gotta be very careful with that. That is very, very scary for me. To not bless or be a blessing to my brothers and sisters when they come to me. That's why when people ask, hey, I'm coming into town, can I camp out at y'all house? Sure, it's no problem, you know, it ain't no problem at all. You'll be good, we'll make room for you. We both have the same ruachs when it comes to stuff like that. Because we want to be obedient to the work of Yah and to his people. I can't, when we first met you, as an example, immediately our ruachs connected with you. Because we felt a very strong connection to you as a son, and so when it came to, things transpiring and you moving and from Raleigh to this area, it was a no-brainer when you said, hey, I'm moving, got a job here, and You know, we was like, don't even ask, you're welcome to stay. When Yah sends people to you to bless them, you better bless them. You better have the mind space, the head space and the mind space to be able to bless y'all people. And like I said, you know, you have con people that come up trying to con y'all and stuff, because people are desperate now. They're desperate. They feel like they have no other avenue, so they're desperate for whatever they can get out of someone else. So you have to have the spirit of discernment to understand and know what's real and what's not. That's why, you know, like we were talking this morning about how important it is to have understanding. Because if I don't have any understanding of why you're in front of me, and using the spirit of, you know, the discernment to know why you're standing in front of me, then I might get shysted. You know what I'm saying? I might get, you know, they might come against me because I'm not giving them what they want. But in the same token, if I don't have it, and I say, but then again, when I look at it, if I have it, then y'all gonna send them to me to get it. You know what I'm saying? If that's not too confusing. Yeah, so, I don't know, that's so scary for me. Like, if I don't do what y'all sent that person to me to do, then I'm gonna get in trouble with him. That's very scary for me.
Can I think it's so imperative, because you guys, to see your walk, it inspires me. So I think it's so imperative and so important for us as individuals to have a true relationship with the Most High for ourselves. Because when we read that scripture that says, beware of wolves who come to you in sheep clothing, it's more than teaching. It's more than preaching. It's people who appear to be one way. You know what I'm saying? And by you not having a consistent relationship, you'll miss it and you'll get took every time. And then, you know, having a productive relationship with the Most High, and it like Moreh, there's so many factors, so many elements that are involved in having a consistent relationship with the Most High. And if you're not studying, if you're not praying, if you're not fasting, if you're not staying consistent with the elements in which He has designed for us to be able to have a healthy relationship, then we're going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe every time. You know what I'm saying? But it's imperative for us to be consistent with the relationship with the Most High. And if you're consistent with Him, you ain't got no other choice but to be consistent with others. And then not to ignore the signs in which you see, okay, that's not of the Most High. How do you know? Because I read the Torah. I know what He requires of us. And that right there goes against it. You will know immediately because you're consistently studying. But it's so many of us, like the Moreh was talking last night, there's so many of us who ride with popularity because the majority of them is going that way. I'm going to go that way, not knowing that at the end of the road, that's death. If think about it, if the majority of people knew that if they got in that car that same night, the driver was going to have a wreck and everybody in the car was going to get killed. If you knew that beforehand, do you really think they would get in the car?
No.
You know what I'm saying? But this is what we do. Look, warning, it may not be scripturally, but it has profound effect. Warning comes before destruction. You see what I'm saying? And by us not being able to cipher the difference, what's of the Most High, what's not.
Say something that goes along with what you just said. I'm gonna read something that goes along with what you just said. I'm gonna read something that goes along with what you just said. This is Leviticus 19. This is Leviticus 19. I'm gonna start at verse 14 and 15. This is going on with my devil. It said, "You shall not curse the deaf
Mm,
or put a stumbling block before the blind,
mm.
but you shall fear the Most High. I am Yahawadah.
Yeah.
You shall not do injustice in court. You shall not be partial to the poor or defer to the great, but in righteousness you shall judge. You judge your neighbor."
Wow.
So taking away from the concept or the traditional sense of what makes a blind person blind or what makes a deaf person deaf. Someone who's blind spiritually and someone who's deaf spiritually, where they hear something is being said to them that's soothing their flesh, that's soothing their desires, but internally is deaf.
Mm.
Someone who's walking in darkness, not knowing they're walking in darkness, because you got a little bit of light in you, or you have the light in you. You can't just, how can I say this? You can't just turn on all the lights,
Mm.
because that's gonna make their vision. Ah! You know what I'm saying? They're gonna make their vision even more crazier. Like, you gotta slowly reveal this light to them and slowly pour into them. Like, I had a sister, and when she first came into this walk, she was just consuming everything, and it was too much for her, where it affected her mental health. Now, I told sis that you can't rush into this thing. You can't just go straight into the deep end. You gotta swim in the shallow end, build up your endurance, then you can get into the deep end. You know what I'm saying? A baby, when the baby first comes out of the womb, you know what I'm saying? You can't just expect this baby to run a mile race or 9-mile race. The baby come out the womb, they ain't walking. Their gross motor development and their legs ain't fully developed yet. You know what I'm saying? They fine motor development and they toes and their joints and their toes ain't there yet. You know what I'm saying? They gotta be swaddled, carried around first. Then whenever it's time for them to grow and develop, and they're trained, they can start crawling. And then trained, they'll start walking. And then eventually, they'll run. You know what I'm saying? We have to be, for someone that's new into this awakening, new into this walk, we have to be patient and trust the process. And in the process, we got to allow patience to do her perfect work. And talk about being blind. That thing blind me when I took off my glasses. And to go along with Pot said, right? Finish going on what Mom said. When someone is in need, and when someone, this going back to Leviticus 19, when someone that is in need, when someone that's going through, when someone that needs that light, we have the responsibility not to judge the book outside the cover. Because I got some books that on the cover of it, it looked like it'll be trash.
Wow.
But when you go into the meat of what's being written on these books, it talks about some deep things. I got this book called "Is God a Moral Monster?" and it got some pale faces on the cover. I looked at the cover initially, I was like, bro, this book is gonna be trash. This book is gonna be garbage. And then whenever I started actually reading it, I was like, oh, that's deep. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't judge a whole lot of things before going back to this point without having understanding of what's going on.
That's the truth.
You know what I'm saying? Just because they got the dopest fringes, they got the three-piece suit, they got fringes on their three-piece suit, it doesn't mean that they got it all together.
That's right.
Their heart is dirty. Their heart is corrupt. They got this facade to them. They have a level. They have the appearance of righteousness. They have appearance of godliness, but denying the power thereof. And they dirty on the inside. They grimy on the inside. And to go to the point to what Paul said, this is Malachi 3 at verse 16. And it's going to separate me, gonna mean a separation. We're gonna go deeper into the separation after this, from going to being unspotted from the world. So Malachi chapter 3 verses 3 I'm tripping, I'm rusty by name.
Take your time.
Malachi chapter 3 verse 16. Then those who feared Yahweh spoke with one another. Yah paid attention and heard them, and a book of remembrance was written before him, those who feared Yah and esteemed his name. And they shall be mine, says Yahweh Tazbawah, or Yahweh of hosts. And that day, when I make up my treasure possession, I will spare them as a man spares his son and serves him. Then once more you shall see the distinction, the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between one who serves Yah and the one who does not serve him. So there's based upon this, those who fear the Most High, those who have reverence upon the Most High, it's going to be known by the fruit of their action. And there's going to be a distinction between those who bout about it and those who ain't bout about it. Those who truly serves and fears the Most High and those who don't. And going back to this relationship, we will have that discernment to know, because based upon our relationship with the Most High, we'll have the discernment to know to separate ourselves from the situation or to cleave ourselves emotionally and intelligently to a situation. Alright, so, yeah, we're going through. So being unspotted from the world, right? And this goes back to this topic of the point of being unspotted from the world. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 12. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 29 to 31. I'm just going to read it straight through. When Yahweh your Elohim cuts off before you the nations who you go in to dispossess, and you dispossess them and dwell in their land, take care that you be not ensnared to follow them, so you don't get caught up in following these nations after they have been destroyed before you, and that you do not inquire about their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their powers, that I also may do the same. You shall not worship Yahweh your Elohim in that way, for every abominable thing that Yah hates, they have done to their God for their gods. For they even burned their sons and their daughters in the fire. So the way how these nations, the way how these heathens, the way how the Gentiles worship their powers, worship their gods, we're not supposed to practice, we're not supposed to walk in, we're not supposed to do. We're supposed to, how the Most High ordained how his worship should be done, that's how we're supposed to worship him. We ain't supposed to say, this is like a classic example. We all know the Christmas example. We ain't supposed to hang up a tree because that's Babylonian. And we ain't supposed to do Easter egg hunts because it's pagan. We ain't supposed to do Halloween because it's wicked. And take it down to this level too, because we forget about this practice. We're not supposed to lament or practice. What's the name? Ash Wednesday. We ain't supposed to be practicing. We're not supposed to be practicing Ash Wednesday because it's weaker for Tammuz. And we talk about Christian, we're not supposed to walk around a cube, a
God,
block of stone,
God,
praying to Allah for pardons of sins, because that block of stone was initially dedicated to Saudi Arabian deities. And when you go into who the Saudi Arabians are, they're Edom. And a lot of our people are stuck in a real Edomite religion and took on practices of the Edomites. So that's besides the point. Besides the point. We are supposed to have a level of separations of Kodesh, of Kadash, of holiness, of set apartness to us. That's different from everybody else.
God,
And we are supposed to sanctify ourselves. How do we become sanctified? By the word. And what is the word? The word is truth. The word is this law. And we're supposed to keep ourselves pure from that. And we're going to go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And we're almost done, because we're almost out of time. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and we're going to start at verse 14. Be not unequally yoked with unbelievers, for what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness?
mm-hmm.
Or what fellowship has light with darkness? What accord has Hamashiach with Baal? Or what portion does a believer share with an unbeliever? What agreement has the temple of Yah with idols? For we are the temple of the living power.
Yeah.
As Yah said, what I will make my dwelling place among you, among them, and walk among them, and I will be their Yahawadah, and they shall be my people. Therefore go out from their midst, and separate from them, says Yahweh, and touch no unclean thing. Then I will welcome you, and I will be a father to you, and you shall be sons and daughters to me, says Yahweh Almighty. So we are supposed to be separate and pure, keep ourselves pure from the contamination that this world gives us. And the ways how we keep ourselves pure and free from the contamination of this world is by this law. Psalms 19:7. Let me go through it. I was about to mess it up and say a whole other verse. Psalm 19:7 is worship.
That's all right. That's all right. Get excited. Yes, sir.
I'm sure I heard this, but I've seen me short all the time, cuz. But the Psalm 19:7. The law of Yah is perfect, reviving the soul. The testimony of Yah is sure, making wise the simple. The precepts of Yah are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of Yah is pure. And we're going to talk about this word pure. Is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of Yah is clean. And we talked about the fear of Yah. The foundation of fear of Yah is this, that you love him. Enduring forever. The rules of Yah are true and righteous altogether. So, this is how we keep ourselves pure. Having a relationship with the Creator is by his law. And this word pure in the tongue is tahar or tahar. And the characters in the back of it is the ta, or someone would say the tha or the tet, and that's a tent basket, right?
God.
And then the ha, and ha can represent revelation. What up, see? Represent, you know what I'm saying, breath. It can also represent beholding something, and it also represents spirit.
God.
The ra or the resh can represents either preeminence, represents being first in something, and can also represent a man.
God.
So when you bring this all together, to be tahar, or to be pure, you're containing the revelation of the chief, or that chief being Yah, that preeminent one being Yah. So you're content to be pure, you're containing Yah's revelation, and Yah's revelation is his law. Did I hit you?
God.
Did I hit y'all?
Come.
Okay. So to keep yourself pure from the darkness of this world, you have to have inside of you his law. And then another way how we can process this through with the characters, you're containing you're containing the chief spirit. So if you can't be around, if you say that you having the spirit of Yah in you and you're around fornication and you're entertaining fornication,
Come.
you're around drunkenness and you're entertaining drunkenness, you're around all manners of wickedness and you're entertaining all this craziness, what do you call that, Samakia? A liar. Someone who's contrary to the nature of the Most High, and the nature of the Most High is in His Spirit. And you're not pure. You're contaminated. You're dirty. You got righteousness that are filthy rags. And the way how we can auto-correct and correct ourselves, going back to Isaiah 1, is by turning to the Most High, walking in His law, keeping His commandments, and having relationship and intimacy with our Father. And this is where Isaiah 1 at verse 18, because we already read 16 through 17. Isaiah 1 and 18. Come now, let us reason together. It says, Yah, though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. So they're going to be pure. Though they are red like crimson, they shall be like wool. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. So if we are willing and obedient to turn to Shema Yashayah Yahawadah, Allah Nawa Yahweh Echad, or Shema Israel Yahuwah Echad, Yahuwah Eloheinu Echad, we are obedient to hearing His voice and turning to Him and humbling ourselves, we will be pure and we will receive everything that is good, everything that is functional for us.
Come.
But if we refuse, if we rebel, but if you refuse and if you rebel, you shall be eaten by the sword. And for the mouth of Yahweh has spoken. So if we keep bucking against the reins, if we keep ourselves polluted and spotted by this world and refuse that separation that the Most High has desired for us to walk in, and refuse the true fear and true submission of the Most High, destruction, chaos, and dysfunctionality is expected to come to us. And with that, I'm done.
Hallelujah.
All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Slim is over here knocked out.
Study life.
Okay. You know, hopefully, I don't know what camera to look at, so I'm gonna do this. Hopefully, y'all got the message. This is edifying.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
All praise to the Most High Yah. I'm just a kid from Joko. I was outside of my function for a little bit, but I'm back.
Hallelujah.
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 I got one more Crocs on, but it's not. But it's not about me. It's about the Father.
Yes.
The Father gave me hard Crocs.
Hallelujah.
Yes. Because things is financially tight, but hey, we gonna make it. All
That's
praise to
right.
the Most High
That's
Yah.
better.
Hallelujah.
Hey, man, it was a blessing. Welcome. This is Yashayah Ibar Ban Yahawadah from the 9. And this is 7-Day Harvest Teacher Ministry Shabbat School. We're about to make a transition. I'm about to bump some music. We're about to make a transition into service. What up, Lorraine? What up, Lorraine? Shalom. And we about to make a smooth transition. I'm about to bump some loud music on the amps. Hopefully nothing gonna bust. He's a strong dance. And we out of here. Shabbat Shalom. Oh.